So, we're now going to turn our attention to the social difficulties that can come up with autism and the value of having some tools to navigate the social environment at work. But first of all, just a word on why would people on the autism spectrum generally, as they have so many excellent personality characteristics, why is it that they would have these social difficulties at work? It's a good question. Why would we experience these? Now, the answer to this is of course complex, because it takes two to make a social interaction successful. So in other words, the difficulties that are experienced by autistic employees at work in social communication is related to both a different neurology going on in autism and the attitude and openness to neurodiversity, for example, of the person that's also in the social interaction with you. So we need both parties to be engaged in the goal of making this interaction successful. And that, as you can imagine, can be quite complex. Now, one of the difficulties here we find in the workplace for autistic employees at work is there can be a difference in motivation, different motivations amongst employees. So for example, we found that autistic employees tend to be very motivated by work goals. For example, doing the best job you can, aspiring to excellence, knowing as much as possible, having an encyclopedic knowledge, if you like, or a detailed knowledge to bring to the job. Another motivation can be getting the job done, just really wanting to complete, that compulsion for completion, wanting to finish it. And another can be being sure to be all over the detail, that it's finalized in a way that the person is happy about. Now, these are all work goals. But what we find is that many non-spectrum people, or people not on the autism spectrum, are often motivated more by social goals at work. So they're there to work, but their primary motivation tends to be about people. And of course, someone on the autism spectrum may be looking at that thinking, what on earth is going on? Why does this person even bother? They're not aspiring to excellence. They don't seem to be motivated to finish the job. They keep gas bagging. Why don't they just shut up and do the job? And that can cause some friction. So social goals include things like they're working on their relationship, they're with someone. In other words, they're very focused on building a friendship, or maybe even more than that. They're very motivated to be liked by people in the workplace. They're interested in both giving and receiving compliments, pleasing other people. And these social goals are not necessarily well understood by someone on the spectrum or shared by someone on the spectrum. Of course, both sets of goals are important and valid, but the goals need to be balanced in order for the workplace to feel a comfortable one where we can work together with good social communication and a general atmosphere that is pleasant. But in addition, we need to provide the work, we need to get the work done. So both are important. Problems can arise when an autistic employee in the workplace doesn't realize if they are contributing to social communication breakdown. They may just not be aware. That's not a goal, so it's not thought about. And problems can also arise when the work culture doesn't understand or embrace autism. So for social communication to be important, we need to work on both sides of the equation. And as we start to do this, obviously the smart way to go about this is to also not only recognize that it takes two to make this social interaction be successful, but also for each to prioritize the goals. So for someone on the spectrum to prioritize social goals where needed, as well as those who are not on the spectrum to prioritize work goals if socializing is getting in the way of getting a job done. So as we turn to the social communication tools that we may utilize as a result of completing the autism working program that we're going through today, we'd like to introduce you to the social tools you'll be learning about in the program. Social tools refers to particular skill sets that make successful communication between yourself and others more likely. And these social tools include, first of all, being able to access support when you need it. Now, this is social support. So this could be just feeling that you've got someone to vent with if needed, to debrief with, to talk through a problem. It can also mean attending to someone just to see what their point of view is, to get some advice or guidance. And it can also mean that that is somebody that you feel is friendly, on your side, is going to back you up if there's a situation that's difficult at work, like a bullying situation, for example. It can also be a mentor, someone who is willing to brainstorm with you about strategies that might be more successful than the ones that you have used to date. So social skills, if you like, can access a lot of guidance, advice, problem-solving support that otherwise we would be bereft of. So learning how to ask for help is an important step at work. We also look at the tool of using scripts though. So we would like to see you, as a result of autism working, be able to effectively use scripts where needed for situations that may help resolve a problem that's going on with someone, and that these scripts are based on a deep self-awareness of our own role in the breakdown of social communication if and when that occurs. So as I talk to you about this, I'm thinking about a particular example of an airplane pilot who came to see me. She actually only needed 2 sessions. The first session was to assess what was going on in the problem, and the second was to check up that she was actually how it was going based on using the intervention. And what happened for this lady was that she was fronting up to do her job, which was to fly the plane. Flying the plane is really important. Getting people to their next country or city safely, hugely important. But of course, she had become so focused on this that she forgot that she also needed to use social skills, that is social tools, to connect with her team so that they felt that she was on their side. So all we did for the intervention was I asked her to look at her team in the eye if she could. She said this was very difficult, so she looked at the top of their ears instead, and to say a hearty hello as she came on the plane with a smile, hello, and how are you today? Just a greeting to show I'm acknowledging you here. And she listened to their reply and nodded and smiled and then went off and flew the plane. So we have a lovely balance there. She's getting her job done, but she's also attending to the people there using her social skills. And the situation actually turned around. She could effectively use that script. It was helpful in her connecting with her team, and they felt that she was a leader on the plane and were very happy to fly with her after that, which before that had been problematic. So that's one example of effectively using a script, a social script, a social tool to manage a problem of communication breakdown at work. We also look at social tools as being ways of being able to offer strategies for repair when communication breaks down. So when you're noticing perhaps that someone has stopped speaking to you or is being particularly perhaps what you perceive as rude in a situation, what do you do? How do you deal with such a situation so that you can get the social goals back on track is really important. And lastly, in Autism Working, we will be talking through various strategies to be able to assertively and confidently manage any workplace bullying that arises during your time at work. And we include this specifically because we know that unfortunately bullying even happens in the workplace to adults. It's not something that just stops at school. It can go on, and it isn't ever okay to be bullied at work. So we need strategies. We need to know what to do should that come up. Hopefully it won't, but you need strategies should it come up. And that's it. So we look forward to going through social tools.